Well, Nick Collier here again, and we're back in the studio section of my workshop. And here's what I've decided. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and post machine shop videos on Tuesdays or Wednesday, and then post this video, this series, because it looks like there's going to be about 4 or 5 of them to get through on Saturday or Friday. However the download or the upload process takes. So hey, stick with me. We're gonna have some jewelry fun, and then on Tuesdays machine shop fun. Okay, it is the next morning, and we're gonna take this little baby out of the acid and see what happened. And it looks like it got all the fire scale off, all of the sponge off. And as soon as I can grab it, we'll bring it out. Put it in the clear water, kind of wash off some of the flux or the acid, and bring it out here. Let's put our lid back in place so the cat doesn't drink it, thinking it's some kind of special tasting water, and I've caught her up there almost doing it. So, and then we'll point our camera down here, and we'll get a little bit better view of what we got. I think I'm gonna get a paper towel. Kind of wipe off the moisture a bit. All right, looks pretty good. Now you can see it's got just a little bit of a warp to it, but that doesn't matter because this whole thing's going to get warped as it gets formed into a bracelet. So we're going to take it up to the over to the bench. We're going to cut off this excess here. We're going to trim that with a file, and then also clean up the inside a little bit, and then come in and polish it. Okay, so we're just going to take it in on the shear here. We get the blade up against the piece of round and just trim it off. And that's my wife's girlfriend. I know it is because she said she was going to call back in 10 minutes. There we go. And I can't really get that side because I've got that stop there. I could just kind of bend it a little bit, I guess. You can kind of see I'm nibbling away at it, mostly because it doesn't matter. All this silver goes back in the scrap bin. And that takes care of most of the outside perimeter. Now I think I'm going to take it over to my grinder and just grind that edge down just because it's going to be faster. So I bought this some years back. It was an old, what was it? Faceting machine. And the whole faceting head was missing. But I saw this and I went, wow, this is kind of cool because this can collect the metal and allow me to grind my jewelry. I gotta move some stuff here in order to get in there. There we go. And we've got, is this water? Doesn't look like water. Yeah, it's water. Okay, turn it on. And we'll run it slow. Look at that, another box of gloves, yes. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of drop it on here. All I'm doing is roughing out the excess silver. Okay, now I'm getting around to it. I'm looking right here, and maybe you can see it. There's one little gap right there. And if it's nothing I hate worse, it's a gap. So we're going to come in and redo that and fill it back in. And probably we'll be able to just kind of go from there, but we may have to put it back in the acid for 24 hours. So I'll be back. All right, well, I found 3 little gaps, and that's, you know, it's just what happens. So we've got one right here. May as well flux it while we're here, and we're going to flux the outside of it so that the flux doesn't flow on the inside. There's 2 right there, and then 1 on this other side right here, so that the flux doesn't flow inward, and it may anyhow. Okay, there's 2, and that looks like it. Well, that's not too bad. And I think what we want to do is just kind of get it up in the air. Let's see what we can put it on. Something like that. Where's our gap? Right in there. And this time we're going to use easy solder for one, because we ran out of hard solder or medium solder, and for another, easy solder will allow us to solder without melting the whole damn thing. Okay. Let's come in here and see what we can do. Got that little bit of a gap right there somewhere. Where'd it go? I think it's right there. And we'll just put that easy right in there and get that to flow. Come on. There it goes. Ah, nice. Just fill in that whole gap right there. And that's pretty good for there. Now, we want to flip it. Just do it out here on the end. I think we might be able to. Can you see that? Yeah, somewhat. You know, I don't like this whole area right here. It seems like it's kind of gapped. So I think what we're going to do is warm it up and see if we can just fill in that gap by squeezing it together. Quite. Not gonna happen. Let's get a better pair of tweezers here. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Oh, we'll just glop some solder in there and call it a day. And we did it without making too much of a mess. We got a little bit of scunge right there, but that can come out later. Let's go back. I was editing yesterday's videos, and I realized that in my taking a video of the rolling mill, I inadvertently captured some of the art pieces that I've done over the years. And you can kind of see some of them here. Let's go on up onto this wall. This is one of my favorite ones of eucalyptus forest. Here's a couple of watercolors. And you can see I'm kind of a landscape painter. This one's pretty intense. It's a nice piece. And this one here is kind of a morning or evening scene. Anyhow, it's what I do during my fun times. All right, so we've got our piece here. Let's dry it off once more. Inspect our joints. That one looks good. And that one looks good. I think we got her. So we kind of rough ground all of this off. And now what I want to do is just come in and do file work. It takes time, but at this point, you want to be more accurate. You want to be able to have that line hit just right, because this edge, this roll here, is what's going to show right there. And it wants to be pretty clean and pretty consistent. And you know, it's silver. It doesn't take that much. Okay, so we've got our perimeter somewhat filed down. We want to come back in with a fine file and go ahead and just kind of knock off those rough edges from the rough file. Now what we need to do is come in and clean up just a little bit of these inside edges, and I'm not seeing a whole lot, but there's just a little bit in there. And we'll get a polishing disc, put it on our Fordham. And we just come in and all right, that looks pretty good. Now what we want to do before we bend this is we want to get this inside edge or inside surface totally polished. And so we're going to go in the buffing room and start buffing. Okay, we're going to start our buffing procedure with bobbing compound, which is a coarse compound. And that cuts real fast and gets in there and does what I want it to do. Little bobbing compound. Go in and work that inside edge right next to the bead first. Okay, so we're going to move away from the bobbing compound into the regular finishing compound. And what I have to do is wipe the bobbing compound off of this so it doesn't contaminate this finishing wheel. And it doesn't take too much to do that, especially with a piece like this. Now, more intricate lacy pieces, it's much more difficult. Let's see if we can get down inside of there and knock that out. Okay, so we went in and just sanded all that out a little bit. Caught a couple of pieces here that I missed. And we'll come back in and see what we can do. good for now. I think what I want to do is come in a little bit closer with a little small brush and just kind of brush in the corner here. All right, so we've got our piece polished. We're pretty happy with that. Oh, I forgot I need to stamp my name into it. But this stuff here is quite interesting. This material, and I don't know who came up with the idea, but this sits on the bottoms or in between skyscrapers and the ground. So, especially in San Francisco where there's earthquakes. So what this stuff does is it crushes, and then when the pressure's off of it, it comes completely back. And you can see I've been using this for 25 years or so. You know, not every day, but on a semi-regular basis. And you can see it's just about as flat as when I got it. And you're going to see what happens when I crush into this. Now, when I was coming up with this bracelet design, I wasn't sure how I was going to get this design to bend into the circle. I tried it by hand, it just wouldn't work. So I came up with this idea here of just rolling it over the top of a ball. Now, I machined that ball, and that was before I had a radius turner. And I literally machined that by, well, of course on the lathe, but just kind of trimming it until it came out round. And that sits on there, and this sits here like that, right? Now, this thing makes a hell of a lot of noise, so put on your headphones or put your earplugs in or something like that, because man. All right, we ready? And actually this is the fun part. I'm going to bring you in a little closer. There we go. I think we have ourselves a bracelet here. Of course, it's not the exact shape that I want, but we can tweak it around. Now, notice that the press literally bent the hell out of that thing, and I had never used this in this press before because I didn't have this press, and I always used like a little hand press, and obviously this is a little beefy for this little piece of thing, but it worked, and it looks like I'm going to have to do some repairs to that for the future. Now notice how this thing here is just slightly indented, and within about an hour or two that thing will be totally flat again. So we've got ourselves the makings of a bracelet here, and let's take that back in the other room and keep. Alright, so we've got our basic shape, and we certainly have the contour that we want. Now this bracelet here has to be the shape of that bracelet, and so we're going to have to fiddle with this a bit, but that's not too difficult. Bring it out. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. I'd say that's a reasonable shape, but you know what I'm seeing is this might be too small. I'm going to take this out on the anvil and kind of shape it on the anvil, and I will be back. Okay, so we're going to bring these tongues in a little bit more, and basically just a leather mallet, a little bit of pounding, gentle pounding. Silver's pretty movable stuff, so it doesn't need a whole lot. And that's getting pretty close. And I'm thinking we could come just in just a little bit, just squeeze it. And we're very close. Pretty good. A little flatter on top here. We'll just bend it flatter. Yeah, I'd say that looks pretty good. I like. We'll go back in. All right, so we've got our bracelet. The shape is pretty close to what she sent me. I think we can live with that. It goes on like that. And the stone, because she wanted this stone, this is ametrine, she wanted that particular stone. What we're going to do is we're going to pop that stone out of this gold bracelet, and we're going to put it on the silver bracelet. Now, of course, you'd think, well, that's going to just destroy this gold bracelet. Well, no, not so much. I'm looking at this piece of turquoise, cutting up some of the nicer section of it, and installing that in the hole. So, but what we have to do is get the stone out without wrecking it. And one way to do that is with a pencil. Let's see what we can do. Oh, it's in there. There it comes. Okay. We got it. Yep, that's pretty good. And there's our stone. And it's going to sit right on top of there like that. All right, so now we need to build a bezel for the stone. And that is going to be about a 24 gauge. Do we have enough here? Let's see. Probably, I'm thinking. So maybe we'll just cut this one piece right off of the top of that. A little bit off whack there, so I think what we're going to do is recut it. That's better. Now the question is will the bezel reach around the side of the, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, piece cake. Okay, so what I want to do right now, because this bezel is, this silver is annealed, but if I take it and heat it up again, it'll even get softer, and I want it as soft as I can get it. So we're going to go over to the torch and just warm this baby up a little bit and kind of get it turned red.